How's it going, everyone? It is Prashan here with another Marvel Snap deck highlight, and I have the one and only Safety Blade here with me to go over one of his decks. So go ahead and tell the people about yourself, Safety.
Okay. I hate this part, telling people about myself. I always fumble through it. But yeah, so it's Safety or Mr. Blade or Safety Blade or Danger Blade. I played Marvel Snap since the start of beta. I have been doing I've been done far too much Marvel Snap. I write for Marvel Snap Zone. I started with them around the time of global release. So that's my primary thing that I do. I write the season card tier list. I do new card releases. I do far too much on the wonderful website called X. To follow me there at Safety Blade, where I usually release things the first time, and I stream regularly enough now on Twitch at Safety Blade, where we just have a good time, music, fun, just enjoy ourselves, and try to break the video game at every opportunity, which is my goal. My goal is to make the game broken so you can all have fun. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah, for sure. One thing I look forward to is Safety's decks on Twitter. Sometimes they're a little bit over my head, so I have to like switch out one or two cards just to so it could be dumbed down to my level. But we do have a deck here by you. You called this the One Piece. So we're gonna go
Did.
card by card. You're gonna break it down for us why each card is in this deck, and then we're gonna play a few games together where you just guide me through turn by turn, and then hopefully we can get some dubs.
Yeah, certainly. This deck's got to be my favorite one right now.
Oh, really?
As well. I'm gonna point that out. Like, yeah, that's the Professor X Cannonball deck is very close to my heart, and it's easier to play and stuff. But this challenges me and is fun and is very powerful.
Got
So
you.
I like all that, and this is my go-to when I'm having a struggle on the ladder at the
Oh,
moment.
wow.
So
Okay, okay. Yeah, because I typically have like go tos too. Like whenever I need like a few wins under my belt, I'm like, all right, this is my not no pun intended, but this is my safety deck to just go back to
yeah.
whenever I need a win. So we have Echo here. So why is Echo in this deck? We don't see Echo that often.
Because she's incredibly good for one drop. So like I have to give some history on the background of how this deck came about in the first place. So I've been playing a similar deck for a very long time with White Tiger and Odin. White Tiger is one of my favorite cards. We'll get to her later. Echo, people assume it's there for Cosmo, right? Echo, but what she does is a lot more than that. And she ensures that you will always have a lane to play into. So that's a very key point, the into part, because that's the thing that people struggle with right now is the card Professor X. So I actually see Echo as more of a card which is there for Professor X than it is for Cosmo. And it can also help you influence where ongoing players are going to play. One of the on reveal deck's worst nightmares is actually an ongoing deck. So the ongoing combinations can sometimes trip you up. Cosmo obviously is a problem. So having a card which influences where they play cards can also help you then pick your right lane from there as well. So she's there for more than just the Cosmo, is what I'm trying to point out.
Right. So
Um,
she's basically here to control the board and manipulate where the opponent
yeah,
is going to play. And this is a good card too because it's turn 1 and you have plenty of time to just map out their plays and see where they could end up playing. So it's a very decent
yeah,
card.
exactly. That's the and you want to one drop in this deck. So the way that the deck works overall, we'll talk about this more as you go along, is you need targets for the buffs. Because the assumption you look at the deck is you go White Tiger or Nomura, right? But the way you level up with this deck and get more wins and um more under your belt with it is actually generally Ironheart. Ironheart is one of the strongest cards in this deck, and having a card down early on, which can be hit by it, is important. But you can play one drops like Nebula can do a similar job, but she just doesn't have the utility in this deck. So um, she works the whole deck, and she's a one drop. That's the reason she's there. Like she synergizes with pretty much everything here.
Mhm.
And she's a one drop, and she's also a pain in the back for some opponents.
Right.
Um, two, like Professor X I mentioned, which is really important.
Uh.
Um, like always has been. The deck originally, when I first made the Echo Unrevealed deck a long time ago, was when Thanos Professor X was a big thing, and just being able to play Echo to stop Professor X going in the lane was the most important thing about her. But secondly, if you end up in some random situation where you're playing against someone playing Invisible Woman and they're putting an ongoing card behind Invisible Woman, she is like the absolute best card in the game.
Oh yeah,
In them
Living
situations.
Tribunal's not so best friend is Echo for sure.
Yeah. You see a lot of people hide Cerebro and Blue Marvel at the moment behind Invisible Woman. People are trying to be when they're trying to be tricky, and yeah, she really ruins their day.
And then next we have Jeff here, good old Jeff the Land Shark.
Yeah, so Jeff and Nocturne are a bit of a package. In theory, both of them can actually be replaced with Nightcrawler in this deck to do the same thing. So there's two things they do. The first is obvious, they move. So this lets you do is control priority better for the Wong. I find dodging counters with Wong is actually more important that you're ahead on priority than anything else, including Cosmo. It's actually just more important that you're ahead on priority. You play these in lanes where you can hold priority and then you can move them later. Also, Nomura likes targets. These two are very curve into targets for Nomura. Obviously, hit them on the lane by themselves, then move them if they're in the wrong spot. They're two main reasons for both them cards. The third reason, which will probably come up at some point, is you can stack these behind Wong on the lane where you're going to play Wong to stop any junk coming into that lane.
Ooh,
So you go
yeah,
Echo,
it's a good defense.
go Jeff Nocturne all in one lane, and then Wong, and you're completely set up. There's nothing they can do to stop to junk your lane. The only thing they can do is try and Red Guardian you, which is then a 50-50. So there's utility to be able to move pieces around the board here. It also lets you move cards. Having the move cards is very important as well because you can move them to block where the tigers are going to go in the later turns too if you're doing a tiger finish.
Right.
So
And it's
yeah,
always
Jeff is the
about
best.
deception too. It's always deception too that works with these move cards in this deck as well.
The Jeff is the best option for this style of deck, and he's the one I would consider. Like I would probably not run the deck without him. Nocturne can be replaced with Nightcrawler to do a similar job in this deck because yeah, you reason for her there is to move her at some point more than the actual transform location. But we'll talk about her more.
Then next we have Ravona. Ravona is like the MVP of a lot of decks right now.
Ravona's one of the best cards in Marvel Snap right now. People are starting to catch on and make Ravona shells for everything, but honestly, like I think that she's still underplayed right now, which is crazy to think about. I get asked a lot, like, why do you have Ravona when it's only hitting like 3 targets, blah blah blah. It's the same as when you had Zabu and you only had 2 4-drops. Like you have key things you're trying to do, and Ravona allows you to do that. So really simple one. Ravona is you play Ravona onto every single chance you get her. And if there's a chance to play Ravona later on and you can fit her into the turn, you still go for it because the lines she opens up are how this deck exceeds other decks at the moment.
Yeah, and then speaking of those lines here, we have Ironheart, which definitely gets that discount from Ravona.
Yeah, she does, and this is the trickiest card to play, and the one that people will misplay the most when I see others playing this deck, either against me or when I go into people's streams and I see them trying this deck out. Ironheart is people try to maximize value on this card all the time, and that's a mistake. So generally, Ironheart is here to obviously buff the other cards in the board. But she can also be part of one of your like 3 or 4 absolutely game-winning combinations this deck can do. But if you play Ironheart and then Odin, that's 24 power. Like there's just 24 power across the board. Mm-hmm. So there's almost sometimes it does not matter how many cards you have on board. Like you can just beat any deck, like almost any deck with that. Sometimes you win the Odin lane almost guaranteed, and then you win the other lanes by the other buffs. There's a bit of gambling to it because of the way that Ironheart's buffs work. And they work 3 at a time at 2 power, so you can't ever go +2 +2 +2 all at once on one. So it has to be 3 different cards every time. But yeah, the misplay people do is they assume that you have to hit 3 cards the first time you play it. So if you have Wong in hand, you have just Echo down and Ironheart in turn 3. I would always just play the Ironheart, get the 1 buff on Echo, and then you play the Wong on top of Ironheart, and then you've got the line of going Odin on top of that at the very end of the game. So you just play it out. Like, it can also just be a body. It can just be a card that gets hits with Nomura later on. So you got to be a bit more. She's got the reason she's there is obviously she's a vulnerable on reveal, which does an absolute ton when she gets hit with Odin or Wong. But there's flexibility in play which needs to be understood about her.
Yeah, usually everyone thinks like Ironheart is a finisher, right? Compared to something that you
Yes.
can just play earlier on curve or
No.
with the flow of the game.
Yep. So often, a line I often do is just Echo, Jeff, Ironheart. Now you've got a 4-power Echo, a 5-power Jeff, and an Ironheart on the board. And then you've got ability to move cards or Jeff around, play Wong on top of Ironheart. You can even just go Ironlight on top of Ironheart now, which we'll talk about a few more in a minute. Like when we're playing, you'll see some of the weird things that come up. But yeah, she's not a finisher, is what I'm trying to say. She's part of the tools, but she's not just a finisher. Now, having said that, the most common way that you win with this deck is actually Ironheart Sage. Not any of the other cards. Like, she, as they both go down to 2 cost with Ravonna, they can be played alongside White Tiger on the final turn without Odin, and do all sorts of things. So you can play them both on Wong, you could play one of them off Wong, you can play Sage on top of Wong, and then play Ironheart on top of Wong and still get 12 power, and the Sage usually wins the Wong lane. Like, there's lots of things they can do because of the reduction and the way that the on reveal works with both these cards, where they just win games by themselves as
Right.
well. So they are finishers in that way. But the fact that they're both 3 cost cards and sometimes 2, you can play them, like I said earlier, put Wong on top of them, or even just Odin them at the very end again, and they get ridiculous power. So yeah, these two cards are like the actual core of this deck.
So I've noticed instead of putting instead of Wolfsbane, you've been going Sage.
Yes.
Is there a reason
and
why?
Wolfsbane, you can get away with Wolfsbane, but there is a reason why. Sage is better earlier in the game than Wolfsbane. So when you play Wolfsbane early in the game, unless you've got all the move cards set up, she's going to be 3/3, 3/5. Okay. Sage, you can actually get a 3/6 Sage without any cards of your own on the board.
True. Yeah, so makes sense.
Your opponent sets up for you. Like, she's just better earlier. You can play her earlier, and she's much, much, much better late, because where Wolfsbane would be 7 and then double to 14, she would usually be in the same situation, 10 or 12, then double to 24. So she's just the better Wolfsbane, really. So that's all it is. You can play Wolfsbane in that slot because it's doing the same idea, right? But your ceiling is much reduced. Like, she's just a better card.
And then next here we have Rogue.
Yeah, this is the card I get questioned about the most, and the card that everyone wants to take out immediately. I highly recommend no one take this out. I mentioned with Echo that the worst matchups for this deck are actually ongoing decks. But it's not just the Cosmo. It's the fact that they have cards like Blue Marvel. They can do stuff with Onslaught and Iron Man, which is just like very hard for you to beat if you don't get the exact full combo. Rogue just flips the match. Almost entirely flips it from you might lose 70% of the time to you might win 70% of the time whenever you draw Rogue. Like, it's that strong. Because she can, taking an Iron Man, no one, like, the opponent is very rarely expects it, and it completely flips the game. That's it. Really that simple. She targets your worst matchup. And I strongly recommend in decks, when building decks, that you try figure out the ways that you target your worst matchup. Whether that's playline, it doesn't always have to be a tech card, or it's playline or tech card. Now, this deck can beat any deck when it hits everything perfectly, but that very rarely happens. And so having Rogue there as an ability to take key ongoing cards from your opponent is just huge. Like, hitting Quinjets as well. You can hit Mobius, obviously, right now against someone playing Pixie. There's targets all the way through the curves. Yeah, absolute worst case, you play her on free and you can hit her with the buffs, just like Ironheart.
And then with Echo
Um,
too, you're sort of forcing the opponent to just play ongoing in
yeah,
other like two other locations. So Rogue
yeah, exactly.
has a high value too, along with Echo. So you're just forcing
Yeah,
your opponent's hand.
yeah. You can often, if you know you're playing against ongoing deck, you can often at the end of the game kind of know where they're going to be playing it too. So the ability to snipe is a lot better. Yeah, look, you'll find when you're playing this deck, like when it all goes brilliantly, you're looking at your screen going, "This like, look at these massive numbers." But the average game, you're still winning by just a couple of points. It's actually a bit more mid-rangey than it looks on the surface.
Mm.
So Rogue flips them games, beats stuff like Cerebro, which sometimes will just come over the top of you if it gets its full combo. Beats any like Iron Man. I have I have two main dislikes playing against in Marvel Snap, and it's Hela and someone playing Iron Man Tribunal if I don't have an answer for it.
Yeah,
So
those are the worst.
that does like personal preference impacts everyone's decks to some degree, but I can like there is a lot of reasons why she's here in this deck. She really is
And
definitely.
then next we have Nocturne.
Yeah, so second move card. Like I said, that second line replace its location with a random new one. This card would actually be better without that second line in this deck. The second line can be an absolute pain in the back for this deck. But she's a 3/5 body, keeps priority, and she can move, and she's a little bit of tech against people playing magic and stuff. Because the deck's built not to need to go to the magic turn. So I see a lot. This is a big mistake I see people make with Odin decks a lot when they're trying to build it. They build around magic, and they should try and figure out if they can build the same plan without magic, and they'll have a lot more success playing Odin because magic can be rug pulled from you, and also like you're often losing tempo playing magic in them decks. So you need to hit the combo then. Whereas Nocturne does like she does the opposite. She rug pulls people's magics. She keeps your tempo ahead. You can be ahead against a lot of decks just playing Nocturne and Jeff right now. And yeah, she moves. So,
Yeah.
like I was saying with Jeff, she can block lanes, blocks locations, so that your opponent can't junk you, and allow you to push the cards where you need to go.
And then next we have Wong here, one of the MVPs of this
Oh,
deck.
the absolute MVP. Wong is the best. Wong is the best boy. I'm very jealous of that Dan Hip Wong I see off the side of the table too
Oh, Dan Hip.
there.
There we go.
So I have one variant for Wong, and it's that same one you've got there, the Midsummer one. And I need another variant. I like to swap my variants in my deck because that's how I feel like I'm changing cards. I just swap variants. Wong is obviously just OP. In general, Wong has always been a card that, if not disrupted, generally wins a game. People shy away from playing him because they get scared that they're going to get disrupted, and I would take a lot longer time to explain why I don't think you should do that. You should be like how you that might be a way you're playing Snap problem more than anything else. So Wong's not been bad at any point. He's not been great at times because again, there's decks which do better into it, and if the meta has more decks that do better into it, you're gonna have a harder time. But when it works, it works. Wong White Tiger has been around since the day I loaded up Marvel
Oh
Snap.
yeah, for
It's not a
sure.
new
That's
thing.
one of the first combos everyone learns.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
next
So
we have
it's still it works.
Iron Lad here.
Iron Lad, Iron Lad is a absolute MVP in this deck. Um, you'll see whenever I build an Iron Lad deck, I try to minimize bad hits as much as possible. So people often translate that to my Iron Lad deck must have Doctor Doom and Magneto and all these big things. It doesn't need to be that. Iron Lad on Jeff is like sometimes absolute game winning pull. So that's the entire deck. The only bad hit in reality is actually Rogue,
Mm-hmm.
unless you're in a very late game situation. And I have had games where Rogue being pulled from Iron Lad has won the game too. So it's
Oh
like
wow.
it's not even that bad a hit.
And
But
then
the point is, Iron Lad on turn 4, you can usually calculate your odds of hitting a card and play your card accordingly based on what the best outcome is for you. So On 4, if you've got Wong, White Tiger, Nomura, Odin in your deck, like you go, right, where have I got an Ironheart on board? Or I'm going to play the Iron Lad on top of the Ironheart in case it gets Wong or Odin. If it doesn't, it gets White Tiger. I get to play the other White Tiger on that same lane, and then if I draw Odin, I can do it again. Like it's just there's a lot of if you think about where you're placing him, he can pull games back out from nowhere very often. And yeah, he's just a very powerful card. Underplayed to say the least in Marvel Snap.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then next we have White Tiger here.
Yeah, the true MVP. So Ironheart and Sage are the 2 cards which you win with the most. Second is White Tiger. If I'm in an opportunity where I've got White Tiger or Nomura to play, I always play White Tiger as a preference.
Oh wow. Okay.
The 8 power Tiger is so underrated. It is very hard for your opponent to interact with it outside of US Agent, which means that you're putting cards down which are not interactable with. You obviously moving them to another lane, so you're not your lane. You might think it's weaker with 1 power, but it's just so much. Just a White Tiger and Wong is 16 power on two of the lanes. It's just that simple. Really, that there's no other work to it. Just Wong, White Tiger, 16 power in 2 lanes. Like, yeah. If you got Jeff and Nocturne down, you have some control of where they land. She's just ridiculously powerful.
Oh yeah.
And yeah,
I think White Tiger is like one of those cards that's forgotten about too, because you get it so early in the game, and then there's so many new cards out there. It's like where White Tiger has like tons of value.
Yeah, she's really very. I'm starting to try experiment with playing her in some other decks, but yeah, obviously the goal is one White Tiger in most decks with White Tiger for a reason, because it just completely demolishes games. Your opponent suddenly has to get over 24 power in each lane to beat you on average. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, you can often just play White. Oh, another great play that this deck does now, thanks to Sage, is White Tiger on the Wong lane, and then you just follow up with Sage to win the Wong lane instead. So now you're suddenly able to, what this deck was not able to do in the past, which you can do with the new cards, is it can pivot a lot more. So if you can pick up that the only way they beat you is if they disrupt your plan to play more White Tigers, you can do something else now a lot better thanks to the other cards. So she gets to shine a bit more because of the new cards.
And speaking of new cards, we have Nomura here.
Yes, my girl. I love Nomura. I regret not buying her with tokens and going after this variant, but that's
I had to go after this one.
I love this variant. I'm a variant fan. I'm not a split fan, as long-time followers would know, but I am a variant fan.
So you know what crazy story is? I didn't know splits were like such a thing in the Snap community until I went to SnapCon, and then like Marvel Snap Twitter. I was like, all right, like only reason I split cards were to like progress down the ladder. But it's like, all right, I really didn't split for like the look of it, because I was like, all right, like I didn't even know Kirby Crackle and all that, because I really didn't split my cards that often.
Fun fact, I'm 20-something thousand collection level, so I am by no means a small spender of this game. I still do not have a Kirby Crackle, because I do not split my splits. I have no Kirby Crackles. I only got my first gold a few months ago. There you go.
Wow.
I love variants, though. I like the art. I'm a very comic fanboy, and yeah, so I love that part of it. So I regret this one. So Nomura is just incredibly flexible. The more you play with her, the more flexible you realize she actually is. People assume she's not. So I see a lot of bad versions of. I say bad. That's the wrong word. The baseline version of a Nomura deck is generally built around playing one card here, one card there, and I'm always going to aim for Nomura. That is, to me, a bad way of playing the deck. Like, you are far too rigid, and you're relying far too much on draw. Whereas just Nomura on Wong with only Jeff on another lane is a 13 power Jeff. Like, that is more than enough. And this is a mistake I see a lot of people make in deck evaluation, and when they're building their decks and playing their decks, is they're always going for these absolute high roll lines when often just doing the basic is enough. If you just play Nomura and you just have Nocturne on another lane, you suddenly have a 10 power Nocturne, which can move anywhere on the last turn.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is a big of envision card. You've put 6 power down. That's a 5/11 card with just 2 cards. Like, it's not. There's far too much building to I need to hit my Nomura line, rather than just going, what's the incremental value? What is the actual best play for me in this situation? How do I use this extra 5 power somewhere for later? And adapting from there. So yeah, she's just a lot of stats.
Right. And then like you were saying before
Yeah,
too, it's more of a mid-rangey deck. Like you could play a lot of the
yeah,
stuff on curve and then just move the
yes.
board around. That way you could utilize Nomura, but you don't have to go for those big splashy plays that
No,
people normally try to go to on the final turn.
they always do, and that's how they like. It can often be the mistake. Yeah, it is more of a mid-range deck. Nomura is stats on curve. Obviously, she synergizes with Wong. Like, the whole deck is like the synergy with Wong is how you win games, but you can play the whole game on curve and still find a lot of value from Nomura. She's a lot of stats. I need to win. Like, the problem that people have with this card when they first play it is they'll set up everything, and someone will interrupt the Nomura play, and
Mm-hmm.
they'll get sad.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what sours people on the card. I encourage people to push through and start thinking about other ways you could have used that, made them turns, because you'll find that there were ways that you could have got the value even with the disruption. And yeah, that could then be turned into wins. And then you got
Yeah.
the Big Daddy. Big Daddy.
Lastly, Odin here.
IE Worthy. One of my favorite cards in Marvel Snap.
Yeah.
uh, I love Odin. The card is insane. Love it. I actually just love this card. I think this is often misplayed card. People assume you have to go one Odin, blah blah blah. Like I've said a few times during this description. Like, Odin on just Sage, like, just wins games. That's it. Like, if you've got Sage now, you play Odin on top of it. If you got an 8 power Sage, you play Odin on top of it. You now have a 16 power Sage minimum. Oh, it's actually 10. Sorry, because it counts Odin. And then you've got 8 power down. Like, that wins lanes. Like, it's really the problem people have with Odin sometimes is they're looking to do the absolute maximum with this card all the time. Where if you just play it as this is a 6/8, which is going to get me some extra value when I play it, you'll have a lot more success. But yeah, obviously he's in the deck because he synergizes with almost every single card in the deck.
Yeah. Pretty
So
much,
that's why
yeah.
he's there. I don't think I need to explain why he's in the deck, but there's play things that people do wrong, I see, with this one. Which hopefully we'll have a few situations where we get to talk about that as we go along.
Yeah. So that is the deck. Thank you, Safety Blade, for explaining that to all the people. We are gonna play some games. He's gonna guide me through it, and then hopefully we can get some dubs.
No pressure.
No, not at all.
Give you an idea of how much I force this deck when I when I want to have fun.
So we have Odin, Jeff, Ironheart, Ravona. So obviously nothing on one. And then are we gonna
Yeah,
be
we're not
playing
playing it.
Ravona as soon as we can?
Yes, basically, I was going to say I would already be looking at what's my priority of play here. It's Ravona, Jeff, because I have Jeff. I would play Jeff over Ironheart. So it'd be Ravona, Jeff. Just where do I want to play it? Now they've got the Phoenix Force avatar,
Yes.
and they've just played Nico and a Destroy effect, so that's slightly concerning. The Space Throne is interesting.
Well, we know it's not gonna be there for long.
I might be there the whole game. That has happened to me a few
Oh,
times. I was
really?
playing this location. Ravona to the left is definitely the way. We have a target then for later. They didn't play, so I'm assuming they are actually Phoenix Force. Mojo World. That's a slight pain. Okay. So here we've got to do a few things. There's a few things to think about here. Echo goes down in the middle because we know that location is not changing. I don't want to lose. I want to play it where I think I can play on reveals later. Then we can play Jeff in Space Throne, just in case shenanigans. And we're also set up for Nomura if we do draw the Nomura stuff the next few times.
Yep, Human Torch.
Yeah. I do like the artwork, that David Mack artwork. See, shenanigans. We did actually get shenanigans. Oh, beautiful. All right, Wong in the middle.
In the middle?
Yeah. Because of World Forge, we got to play a little bit differently.
Okay.
Yeah. Remember, Phoenix Force decks can, what? They're going to be able to stack maybe 2 free cards on Mojo World as well. So I wouldn't play to stop. Oh, they got multiple.
Whoa, no Phoenix Force yet.
No Phoenix Force is great. I would probably snap. Let's play. Snap! Before they see anything else. Well, Mojo World came out. That is actually brilliant. Mojo World is actually brilliant.
The board space is limited for them too.
Ask you, what do you think we should do before I tell you what I've played this deck too much. I need to talk. Like, you tell me what you think you should do here. I think there's a very obvious play for me, which other people might not see straight away.
So me personally, I would probably either go like Ironheart and then Sage. Or if I wanted to be like risky, I would play Iron Lead just to be funny. But
yeah, so we've only got 4 cards in deck, but Rogue Nocturne, it's a 50-50 on good.
Right.
I'd play Sage to the left.
And Ironheart
and then Ironheart middle.
Yeah. Yeah, that was like the obvious play, and then I was like, all right, I could probably be funny. And...
No, it's obvious. Make sure. But yeah, because you got the Rogue Nocturne, you're only 50-50 to draw Nomura or White Tiger. White Tiger would have been premium even then, because you would just fill Shadowland with two of them, and then you fill the other lane with White Tigers.
Oh, Cersei.
Excellent. Oh, we play Cersei mid now. It's really simple play here.
We just go Odin, right?
Yep. Now the only maths we have to do is 12 plus 3. I count whenever I'm at my computer. I keep the maths. 12 plus 3 plus 7. It's 22 plus 9 divided by 3.
Do we move Jeff though into the hub just to be safe, or we leave Jeff where he's at?
If he goes to 14, then he Zolas it, and we should win middle still. You'll never be able to do the full Ironheart maths. I think, yeah, we can move Jess mid. I don't think you need to.
Okay.
Because if he does Zola, we win that lane. I don't think you need to.
Yep, you called it.
Zola or Phoenix? Tribunal. We should be okay. That should be 17.
Or is it Tribunal? Let's see.
Tribunal, we definitely win. That's the maths I always do, Tribunal maths.
Are ye worthy?
Always be doing the Tribunal maths. My hot
tip. Zola, let's go.
Cut off one head, 2 more shall take its place.
Or Phoenix Force player.
We took all 3 lanes.
Yeah. I told you how much this deck does. Well, that was 24 power on this turn. Like, right. That is one of the most common ways you want to try and win. Nothing to do with White Tiger, nothing to do with Nomura. Ironheart is an absolute powerhouse card.
Yeah, and they got Phoenix Force a turn too late too, so they had limited board space on moving that Human Torch around.
Now we would have, if he'd got Phoenix Force one more turn, we would have been beaten. We would have known that, so I would have probably, maybe if we wanted to try and stay in, you would go high roll Cersei mid. If you were going for the win.
Yeah.
On a Phoenix, if he had played Phoenix Force one turn earlier. Just to be clear, like that's how you would do it, because then you would get 2 6-drops, I believe. Is that right? No, you get 5.
Get a 5, a 2,
would be a high roll play. You'd be shooting for the stars, but just to say what I would do.
Sure. GG's.
Perfect Ironheart game. That was good.
Yeah. So we get here.
I've ignored the film crew. Midnight Suns. Oh, bro.
Jeez. All right, so we have Danger Room, First Location, Rogue, Sage, Ironheart, Wong. So there's nothing to play. A 1 or 2 so far, or 3. Well, 3. We have some options.
We have options, but I really would like to see a bit more of their deck before we start. We do have Wong.
Mysterio.
One can change how you want to do this sometimes. Whereas the situations where I would just play, just before I say what I think I should do now that Gamma Lab is there, there are situations here with that hand that I would have just played Ironheart by herself, literally with no buffs.
Okay.
If I was, because I'm having a bad game. So when I'm having a bad game like that, I know I'm drawing bad. I'm not going to do that. I think we play Rogue on Gamma Lab.
You think so?
Because of
Even because they're playing
Yeah.
Mysterio, I think they might have some ongoing shenanigans,
I
right?
know they'll have like the Mockingbird stuff now. I play Rogue on Gamma Lab because of Gamma Lab. I'm just trying to explain, like, there are times when you're drawing bad in Marvel Snap, you just make the play which can sometimes pull back, right? So instead of just sitting there going, I'm drawing bad, I can't do Wong into Ironheart, I would literally just play Ironheart on a lane, play Wong on top of it, and then if I draw everything else, we're very happy. So we go Wong in the middle. Seems strange because I know because it's 0 power, but we're going to hope to try and hit it with win that lane with Sage at the end.
Okay, there's the Mockingbird.
Yeah. Then we White Tiger in the middle as well. We just want these to go left. We really want them to go left. We've drawn very badly, but you're trying to find the line which can keep you in, right?
Ooh, they have a White Tiger too.
Oh, bro, they're playing my deck.
Oh.
All right. Okay. We are 6 behind on Gamma Lab. If we play Ironheart into Sewer System, we go down to -2 base, but then we do 12 power. We need 6 of them to land on Gamma Lab to win. If we just play Odin on Sewer System, we win the game. I'm pretty sure. I would boomer snap that game.
Oh, Magneto.
We are the future.
That's why I would have lost the boomer snap. See, there you go.
Are ye worthy?
Why didn't they snap? There's a lesson to why you should snap games there.
Ooh.
Donnie lost because of the Scorpion. That's a shame.
Yeah, the Scorpion. Scorpion did have some value, huh?
Yeah, there we go. GG to Midnight Suns.
Oh yeah, for
I
sure.
think they played well. You see how we had nothing, and we were able to find a way to almost be in that game.
Oh yeah.
That's how I evaluate a good deck. Like if you can play to the point where you played it out. Yeah. He would have got me. I lose to Magneto all the time, by the way.
Well, I don't know.
It's
Magneto
like-
could win people games and it could lose people games. That happens all the
Yeah,
time.
I know.
I am
That guy
Ego,
is like, he would have got me.
and
man.
this is
So,
my
watching
domain.
Midnight Suns, you would have beaten me for 4 because I would have snapped you. Oh no!
Yeah,
Ego.
Ego.
This is like the worst deck for Ego ever. This is the worst deck for Ego ever.
And they're playing discard.
Please turn it off, World Forge. Turn off Ego. Bro, Ego! You had one
Ooh.
job, World Forge.
Yeah, World Forge needs to hit Ego. I haven't had Ego in a while either. There we go. Perfect. And it's Space Throne, alright. So what do you want to
Okay,
do
we
here?
need to get Nocturne down.
Where do you want to put her?
In mid.
Mid? Okay.
In mid. So the reason for this is that Nowhere is on the right, and we may need that. We may need to. Alright, we're good. We're good now. So what we do now is we just wong middle. Don't move the card yet. I would actually snap because he hasn't done anything, but
Ooh, Jubilee.
but you see how we've got Jeff on Space Throne? Obviously you see that. What you can do now is you leave Jeff there. We're guaranteed 16 power on the right. Now they've discarded Lady Sif and Black Cat, so they've got 14 power, 13 power right now.
Yep.
14 power. So 16 right now as it stands. We may have already won right. So I'll just play White Tiger now with Jeff where it is.
Ooh,
Jinked it. Jeff, still ahead. Asteroid M. Oh, you've got it. You hit the combos. You hit the big one. All right, so Odin White Tiger, here's how you work out the maths. It's always 4 tigers. Okay? So you're always, what you can do is you move Jeff to, you could, I'm not saying this is right yet, we've got to sit with it for a second. If we move Jeff to Atlantis, we should be guaranteed 3 tigers in Asteroid M, which is 24 power. We're at 19 at Atlantis then, so we'd still want one of the tigers to
Are
go
ye
right.
worthy?
I'm guessing are they going to be playing Hella right now?
Are
I
ye
assume so.
worthy?
All Hella players just play Hella. They don't think.
Yeah, there's Hella.
Minions to me.
So the fact... Alright, so if you're a Hella player,
Victory.
you're only getting technically only 3 cards out.
Yep.
Alright, I don't know. Whatever, I guess.
This
GG.
is like that. Yep, that's Hella players. But you'll see here, the key thing I'd point out here at this point is the move of Jeff.
Mhm.
Guaranteed 24 power left. We could have lost because if one of them tigers hadn't landed right. But the bigger risk may have been if you're playing against a better Hella draw. If you had 2 tigers go right and you needed 24 left to beat the Infinite, you'd rather build habits like that when you're playing Snap, and you'll do better. Is what I'm trying to say. We potentially could have moved Nocturne to Asteroid M, but I don't think that was needed. You need to spread power against Hella, because your best bet is either they all land in one spot or one of them lands in the wrong spot. So
Right.
that's White Tiger. White card.
Oh yeah, for sure. White Tiger definitely got us the win, and Odin, and Wong.
Yeah. Oh, look, the combo. But you
Yeah.
set up for it, right? The key thing that people forget is like they go, oh, I just lost the White Tiger, blah blah blah. But if you like the things that you can make your win rate go up with a deck like this is doing the right things earlier. So we played Jeff. We kept Jeff there so that the Tigers went where we wanted. We played Nocturne in the middle so we could turn off Nowhere in case Worldforge didn't. Like, think about these turns earlier on, and you can do better.
All right.
Okay.
So we got Space Throne again. This is crazy. So we got Odin, Rogue,
It's no fun.
Ravonna,
That's
and
challenging.
Eyelid.
Winning Space Throne games against Hella again.
Yeah, Hella again.
Same variant. That was the same variant.
Yeah.
Ravonna mid. Generally because they may not have anything to play there for a little while. Is why I usually do this.
No World Forge.
Excellent. Nocturne's excellent here. Question is just exactly where we want it. I
Do we
think
wanna-
I'll put it on Asgard.
All right. I was gonna say Asgard. That way we could get some card draw. Let's get some Namora
Yeah,
play.
I don't think they can get over 8 often. They can sometimes. Like right now, probably. Shit. I really want to play Iron Lad, so we're going to play Iron Lad, I'd say. So this is a situation where I think Iron Lad is quite obviously the best play, even though you've got White Tiger in hand. And even though we don't know if Spurs going to hit, there you go. I've got one. We're good.
Ooh.
We can probably almost know. We'll see what they get out here first. They're going to draw.
Oh, if not,
They didn't
okay.
draw. They didn't
We get
draw,
Wong,
though.
and we get Sage.
Didn't draw, and we could turn off Baxter Building if we were really crazy. Right, wait. Don't do anything yet.
We have Namora here too.
Yeah, no. That's what I'm trying to think about. The problem that I have is we have to turn Space Throne off for White Tiger line, and the White Tiger line is, like I said, generally the better line.
Mhm.
So if you just go Nocturne to the left, and then we go White Tiger to the... Oh, yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, so play White Tiger now. I'm just trying to start an Echo. Probably leave Echo out.
Yeah, I doubt that they're gonna be playing any.
I wouldn't snap it because of Baxter building. It's the only reason I wouldn't snap. Because that lane, if he gets that infinite on there, that can make us very sad.
I am
Ooh,
Iron Man.
so this is why Rogue is in this deck.
Oh, no way. Did he just do that? Okay, what do you think we should do? Can you tell me the line first?
I think we should
before
Rogue,
Yeah.
Sage, and then just in case they have more ongoing stuff, I want to play Echo.
Alright, wait. Tell me how many cards they discarded again and what cards they discarded.
They
Check that.
discarded Infinite, Death, and Black Cat.
Okay, so that's 32 power. They would actually beat your Iron Man lane with this play, technically. There's 14 power on your Iron Man on your Baxter building. So if you play Sage as well, how much power does that get? If you play all of them on Baxter building.
Ooh, yes, I could probably do that, huh? We could
You
go
play Echo,
Rogue,
Echo.
Echo, and then Sage.
Yep, so that gets 6 power Sage on top of the 4, so 12. You're 18, 32 power.
I think that might be the move.
Yeah, they should hopefully miss on one of the cards into Baxter building, and we should win.
Iron Man.
If they don't, this is why I hate Hella. By the way, if they don't win, if they win this,
They actually played Hella in the Baxter, and we won.
Yeah, there you go. See that?
Victory.
So yes, this is why Rogue is there. Just to be clear, that was like I'm glad that happened during the video, so you can point to that straight away now. That is important. That's why you play Rogue. That is one of your bad matchups. If you can see there, if we didn't play Rogue, we would have lost.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Even to Odin White Tiger, even Sage White Tiger on the Wong, like we would have just lost because the Iron Man would have won Baxter building. We lose the 4 power on the other lanes, and we just lose all 3 lanes.
Right. And
Instead,
the crazy thing is they're playing Iron Man in a discard deck.
Yeah, no.
I guess they're trying to be different. I understand.
Hella, yeah, they're like, so they can fire a new cook. I got to fire a new Hell cook, guys. It's
Yeah.
man. It's probably playing Silver Samurai.
Maybe, yes.
So he's got-
That is a good hit. Yeah.
That would be probably my guess why he's got that there. So it makes sense. But yeah, this is a good example of a mid-rangey board as well in a way, because you instead of going to one of the combos, we pivoted. Sage wins the game. Even just a 6 power Sage wins the game there, which is pretty good.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Very good.
GG. That is it for this video. Thank you for hanging out with me, Safety. I'll put all of your info down below. That way everybody could give you a follow and look. Anything you want to say before we dip out?
Just remember to have fun. I do play an awful lot. Which is like part of my reason for why I'm better at this than it might seem. You play to your own goals. Like, don't try and compare yourself. Remember to have fun, and don't be afraid to play random card, because like, that's how I got better at this. Was playing the stuff that people didn't think of or thought were just stupid. Even this, people assume you're just going to lose the Cosmos, so they won't play it. So experiment, enjoy it. It's a video game. It's not a competition. That's the best advice I could give to anyone who wants to actually enjoy playing Marvel Snap. Is just enjoy what it is, which is a video game, and have fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. So
I'll leave it there.
Thanks again for chilling with me. We're taking off. So you guys be safe, keep on snapping. Till next time. Peace.